And that is an important part of being alive, is knowing that you are a valuable part of the fabric of it. And without you, the fabric would not exist as a whole.
And your authentic expression is actually the gift that you're here to give.
And you're worthy of that.
Yes. And everything that's telling you otherwise, it's garbage to be rejected.
I feel like we're in a beautiful space. I know it seems really dark, but there's truth in darkness.
Hello, hello, hello. And welcome to the New Humans for New Earth podcast. I'm Queenie, your host. And on this podcast, we believe that every human alive today has a role to play in helping to co-create a new, more loving and more aligned world. Here, we introduce you to wisdom, perspectives, and information to support and inspire you in making more aligned choices in your life. Today, we are so blessed to have my personal bestie and my soul brother from the Great Mother, Gabe Torres, joining us once again. Please give a warm New Humans welcome to Gabe Torres. I don't know what else to say to introduce you.
That's enough. Thank you for having me.
No, I'm thrilled to have you here. I love our conversations and the phone is good, but having you in person, it's so much better.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that. Same here. I love our conversations.
Yeah. And you've got that safe, grounded, masculine energy I'm really trying to cultivate in my life. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to take that.
You're going to take it?
Yes.
Take it as a compliment?
Yep.
Put it in the pocket? Take it all the way home?
All the way.
Last time you were here with us on this podcast, one of the things we were talking about was shamanic healing, right? And, one of the things that I feel like I've really come to know, just in the deepest part of my being, sort of in my experiences with that kind of healing is so often in our lives, we feel like we have this problem over here and this problem over here and that one over there. And then there's one up there somewhere too, and it's you kind of feel like you're playing whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
And, we're all so busy and it's just when you think that there's this long to-do list of places you're supposed to be putting your energy for your healing path or whatever, it's it gets overwhelming. But the thing that my medicine experiences has really driven home for me is that oftentimes it's actually just one thing. But you have to find that unifying thing that connects all of those seemingly different issues together. Does that jive with sort of your understanding too, or?
Yeah, it's been also my experience where the more you look at it, the more you find that it's all the same thing. For me, I find that the biggest and most profound piece of wisdom that I have found is just to remember who I am. From there, you recognize that it's all perfect and there's really no mistakes.
Yeah, it can be difficult to hold on to that knowing though.
That's why I says, remembering. Yeah, that's the fun part there because you often forget.
Right.
I think that's the gift, to remember.
Yeah.
And once you remember, I think, like you were saying, one of the pieces was, this is wrong, that is wrong. We have to fix this. We have to align with that. This is the road. That's the road. Do I even see the road? Do I trust the road? Can I trust the road that I don't see? Is the road that I don't see healing those parts that I also don't see?
Am I even on that road?
Yeah, and then those are all judgments. Yeah.
Well, and
judgments to heal other judgments.
Sure. But I think also, in a certain sense, lack of faith, right? And it's so funny for me to be sitting here talking about faith and, frankly, God, because I grew up, I use the phrase a-religious. Like in my household, religion was something that other people did, or spirituality was something that other people did. And it was like almost this like curiosity, like, why do people do that? But as far as like faith goes, right, it's like I've had experiences, and I'm sure you have too, where it's like you see how it all fits together.
Mm.
And like that, just that inner peace, I think, that comes with just knowing that it all fits together.
That's the word, knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you kind of like, you reemerge from these experiences into this reality, and you're like, whoa, shit, like, what's all this stuff?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. What do I do with all this? But if you can hold on to that, just that knowing, then for me in my life, like when I'm faced with something that seems chaotic or, just out of alignment, right? It's like, that's when I have to sort of tap into that knowing and say, even though in this moment, I don't understand how this fits in, I still know that it does.
And in that way, is it really out of alignment?
Right.
Yes.
Right. And and maybe this is sort of kind of what you were saying earlier. It's like, we only think it's out of alignment because of our judgment of it. That's a tough one to swallow, though, if you haven't like experienced that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the difference between faith-based beliefs and the knowing.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's so many faith-based beliefs, and in those beliefs, I don't mean to sound like a riddle, but you don't really know.
Right.
Because it's faith. There's no knowing in faith.
Well, this is interesting, right? Because it's like, for me, I have faith because I know. But I think sort of the model that a lot of people are used to, particularly because of religion, is this idea of faith because someone else tells me.
Yes.
Which, I don't know. My experience with having someone else tell me stuff is like, okay, that's nice, and I would love to believe that. But like, the thing, and I'm not here trying to like encourage people to take medicine. Like, I'm just sharing my experience. But like, when you have that experience, in like the deepest part of your being that this is true. And so it the thing about the mind is that you can always kind of convince yourself of anything.
100%. 100%. And I think that in a lot of faiths that happens often.
Yeah.
Where you loosely saying, but all faiths are important.
Yes.
I'm not taking away from any of them. Yeah, but I think that, that's the difference between, again, like a riddle, those who know and those who believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think to kind of pull on that a little bit more, right? It's like so much about, and again, all religions are beautiful. I actually personally believe that like all of our religions are just like different lenses onto the divine.
And they're necessary.
Yeah. But there's also been, I don't know, a couple hundred years where it's like, you don't get divine revelation because you were not special enough to get it.
Yes.
And
those are fear-based religions.
Yes. And I feel like more and more people are actually starting to get that direct revelation, or it's starting to like...
At least that's what it feels like.
It feels like that's happening,
and
right?
I think it's because it's immersed in my environment, maybe, that I'm surrounded by people who are what's the right word?
Online,
but doused with inner love and inner knowing and being awakened by whatever it is that is driving their knowing.
Yeah.
Or whatever their source is. Yeah, it's
I'll wait for you. We'll wait for you.
We'll wait. Yeah, I don't know. I think I if I'm gonna go back to it, I would say some people can be homeschooled and they enjoy it. Some people like working remote and they enjoy that. Some people need to be at work with a boss and a supervisor, and some people need a teacher. And I think that's where faith comes in, and plays those roles. It's important to have a well-rounded, diverse ways to, am I saying that right? Diverse ways to reach spirituality.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that I feel like we're all doing here is like, we are all on our own paths, which means that like consciousness is sort of on this like, not infinite, because we like the population has not yet reached infinity, right? And never will, because that's not the nature of infinity. But I don't know. I actually personally like to think about consciousness and divinity as almost like here for entertainment, you know, as well as spiritual development, right? But like, and I'm sure we've talked about this before, but it's like, imagine being this like infinitely intelligent being. Wouldn't you get bored? In some way, I feel like part of what's going on here is like, let's see what we can do. You know, let's see all the different kinds of experiences we can have. Let's see all of the different ways that I can forget myself and then remember. Let's see all the different paths I can take back to myself.
That is a beautiful way of using that lens. I had a similar thought like that. You want to hear it?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Well, fragmented consciousness. Like once you become aware in your own psyche as a human, in your body, that you are alone, let's say on a remote island, your body or your mind will fragment itself and make a friend. And that friend can go make shelter while you build a fire. And maybe another friend goes fishing. And that's your mind creating all three experiences present for you. And when they all come together, you have shelter, you're fed, and you're warm. Now you experience all those experiences regardless if it's base reality or not. Now you fractalize that from the first experience of the I am, and then the knowing that it is alone. Then you fragment that across infinity, and then you get infinite multiverses of experiences that expand beyond our understanding. Did that track?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did it? No, it did. It was beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, just to connect it, I mean, you sort of said earlier, I'm not sure if, how do I want to characterize what you said? You said something like, I'm not actually sure if my experience of reality and how many people are awake or waking up is accurate, because like, I know that I'm just surrounded by people who are
deep blessed in that way.
But I think that more and more people are.
Yes, especially with you know, I don't want to bring it up like this, but AI. AI is I want to say is a great tool for mass awakening. So many people know the language, so many people are curious, so many people are diving into these forms of inner guidance, and they're using these platforms to dive deeper into themselves.
Interesting.
And it kind of like creates a mirror that helps guide whatever it is they're curious about. And I think that's pretty unique in that one way of using the tool.
Yeah, because that's capable of.
I'm not advocating for, you know.
Well, I mean, like, look, just to go back to sort of what we were saying earlier, it's like,
it's either all divine or none of it is.
Yeah. Just because I don't understand how AI fits into this moment doesn't mean that it doesn't, right? And like, everything has its shadow and its light.
Yes.
And I think, a large part of the conversation about AI that I'm seeing at any rate is focused on the shadow, and we need to be aware of that because there's certain limitations to this planet, right? That we need to sort of be conscious of while we're sort of moving forward. But thank you for pointing out that there are some light aspects to it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think too, it's like, again, to kind of go back to more and more people are waking up. It's like, and this faith concept, right? It's like this moment feels so dark, right? In a lot of ways. And I know that sort of the months and months of this, it's like every year we're like, can we be done with this, please? Can we just leave that in the past? But it feels like we're just kind of marching forward into further darkness, right? And I believe that part of the role that darkness is playing is pushing more and more people to wake up, right? It's like
100%.
We're like in this collective dark night of the soul. And for people who haven't like gotten real familiar with that or haven't gone through that themselves in their own lives, it's like, what's going on sort of this global scale, but particularly here in the United States, it's like, you might be looking out being like, holy shit, what is this? What is this? And that is a fair reaction. But I think that because it's pushing people to wake up, there is actually a light to it. And I know that's kind of a hot take by Queenie, but like I'm just going to put that out there, there is light to what's happening. Yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking a little earlier, but it's just like there is a dominant narrative about what is happening right now. And that narrative is very much fear-based. And frankly, I mean, the mainstream media outlets and a lot of our leaders like have a vested interest in having people be afraid, right? And having people think like, we are powerful, we are asserting power over you, and there's really nothing you can do about it. But we don't have to buy into that narrative. And truly, like what I believe is happening is that these systems are actually starting to disintegrate.
100%. Post-World War II, all of it's breaking down.
All of it's breaking down. Mm-hmm. And again, I believe that this sort of these efforts, right, to roll out and install an authoritarian regime here is actually like the death throes of some of these institutions.
Yeah, the only thing that is, you're right. It does seem a little dark.
It seems dark.
It seems a little dark.
Let's admit that.
We have what, 8, 9 different people who control all of the ballistics of the world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like many of them have done inner child work.
Right. Well, something I'm reading about that's been concerning to me is like seeing the people and the companies who are buying up the water rights globally. Mm-hmm. That shit's dark.
Yes.
But keep going.
Like we can go on and on.
Yeah.
Like what happens when the little guy says, you know what, I'm gonna strike. Mm-hmm. I mean, it does feel dark.
It does feel dark, yeah.
But I'll tell you what I feel. That the darker it gets, the more we hold on to the things that matter. Mm-hmm. And in a very real way, we are more and more connected to love.
Yes.
So, I mean, are you going to go to your 9 to 5 that you spent, 8 years trying to figure out your career path to? Or are you going to hold the person you love in those dark times? Are you going to want to be held by the person you love? Are you going to cherish the seconds instead of allowing days to pass by? So who knows? I mean, it seems dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, is it really dark, or is it just another shift of consciousness, another shift in that polarity of how we experience the fabric of what we hold to be important?
Yeah.
Because love can be experienced in so many different ways, and we've just begun to touch the fabric of it now.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of like the emergence of love and darkness, right? It's like I actually just read an article written by someone. I mean, maybe it was an essay, doesn't matter. But it was written by someone who is in Minnesota right now and is experiencing what's going on there. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but like they've essentially gotten like blacked out on social media, right? But what they were describing there is they were like, look, like we have become so bonded over this experience.
100%.
You know, we have shown up for each other. We're supporting each other. Like, you know, yes, this is dark, but like we're hanging out, like passing coffee around, you know.
Finding out what community really is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And it's beautiful. And like honestly, it's some of these descriptions of these scenes, it's like it felt like some of these like experiences of community at Burning Man, but like against the backdrop of like the domestic terrorism happening. Which like, sorry to laugh, but find it where it is, you know?
Well, you're forced to find it.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is it's an important role in darkness, is to allow that which isn't. I always say darkness is the ability to find truth without projection. And that seems like the ultimate love to me. I do feel like darkness plays an important role in what we call light. One cannot exist without the other. It's almost like it's a love story of sorts.
Oh, the love story. Don't even get me started on the love story. Oh my gosh.
Tell me.
Honestly, it's a little personal. Over and over again in my ceremony experiences, kind of one of the themes that comes up for me is just like the deep love that consciousness or divinity or whatever word you want to use, source, right, has for us. And it's just so beautiful, honestly. Like, again, it's one of these things that like you kind of just have to, because it's so hard to put into words.
There's no word.
There are no words. There are no words, but there's just this, yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I could articulate it better, but to kind of connect this back to sort of a little bit more of the current affairs, we might say, right? It's like in my most recent experience, one of the things that came up was I saw humanity and civilization like from a distance, like from the distance of like the divine looking at it. And, you know, I would see these like civilizations rise up and then fall and then rise up and then fall. And the perspective on it was so distant that it was almost like a petri dish or like an ant farm, you know, and it kind of had this experience, this feeling to it of like an experiment, because, you know, I feel like the overarching theme of like what's going on here is like, can humanity come to enlightenment? Can we find our way back to our divinity? Can we find our way back to source? Can we find our way back to that collective sort of consciousness, that unified like love party that like this reality could be?
Okay, you're kind of freaking me out. I'm not gonna lie. I had a similar experience.
Yeah. And you know what I kept sort of seeing happening as civilizations fall and collapse, right? Is like it was like the divinity would like check in and be like, no, trash planet again, you know, and then it would do it, trash planet, do it again, trash, you know, and it was like, are they ever going to figure it out? But with that infinite patience of, you know, I don't know, a lover, or maybe lover's not quite the right word, but it's just like there is a dream for humanity. And it's like divinity's going to be with us until we can figure it out. I believe that we're like on the threshold of an opportunity to figure it out. And yeah, I mean, it's like fortunately or unfortunately, it's a little bit contingent on each one of us sort of doing it, right? But like,
It's like the ant farm.
it's the ant farm. Yeah. Yeah.
The ant farm of love.
Yes. Yeah. And if you just think about all of the, I mean, frankly, the miraculousness of this, I mean, in a recent episode, we were talking about sort of the complexity of all the ecosystems that we live in, right? And just the fact of all of that interrelatedness to create life and abundance and just, I mean, frankly, like this incredible immersive art experience that we are living in, I mean, just contemplating that, I'm like, wow, right? And then you think about the richness of the human experience. Yes, there might be some dark aspects to it. And yes, those dark aspects might get pretty dark sometimes, right? But like nonetheless, this human experience is so rich. And it's like that was a gift for us, to experience, to grow in, to enjoy, to take care of. I mean, we've forgotten that part like recently.
As a busy DJ with another project or adventure always on the horizon, Spotify was my go-to for music discovery. But about a year ago, I noticed that I wasn't feeling inspired by music anymore. In fact, everything I was hearing felt like lame elevator music, nondescript, unimposing, uninspired, and uninspiring. I wasn't coming across tracks I wanted to play, and frankly, I was starting to wonder if the go pressure of today's music industry had finally just sucked the soul out of music. Because that's what I'm looking for when I'm searching for tracks. Soul. So I did a little digging, and what I learned led me to quit Spotify. In addition to running recruitment ads for ICE last year, I learned that Spotify co-founder and then CEO, now executive chairman Daniel Ek, invested $700 million in a German AI weapons technology startup named Helsing, where he is now chairman of the board. Mr. Ek's personal fortune is estimated at around $9.6 billion. And in the 20 years since its inception, Spotify has grown to be a $137 billion company. Meanwhile, Spotify only pays musicians roughly 1/3 to 1/2 of a penny per stream. You do the math. Spotify is extracting massive amounts of wealth generated off the talents of musicians and other creatives all over the world. And its co-founder is using that extracted wealth to support AI-powered violence. No, thank you. Many artists have already removed their catalogs from the platform, and Spotify has been leaning in to AI-generated music and buying the rights to stock music to fill up its playlists, further limiting real artists' opportunity to make money from their art. No wonder I haven't been finding any tracks with soul there. So if you still have a Spotify subscription, this is your invitation to change that. Let's make companies that take advantage of artists so their leaders can support more violence a thing of the past. There are so many alternatives out there. There's Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Deezer, Qobuz, physical media, and even your local library. Personally, I ended up on Tidal for my day-to-day listening. They pay artists more, the sound quality is better, and they made it so easy to transfer my playlists, like tracks, and albums over from Spotify. And I miss sharing tracks and playlists with people. So if you cancel your Spotify subscription and switch over to Tidal, take a screenshot of your cancellation confirmation and send it over to me at queenie@newhumansfornewearth.com. And I'll send you my Medicine House playlist, which is a selection of some of my favorite tracks. Let's support artists so they can create more art with soul. Now, let's get back into the episode.
There is an experience where I've noticed that sometimes because we think we're the center of the universe individually, we don't recognize that sometimes these natural things like plants that grow and worship the sun for their entire lives only come in contact with us once or maybe never. And how much do they rejoice to see us as a reflection of what they contribute to the world?
Yeah. It's fascinating to me to think about how, effectively how dead we think that the rest of the world is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Oh, my goodness. You can literally. I poke someone's finger and they're like, whoa, I'm going to die, But you can take a plant, rip it up, throw it in a corner, go on vacation, come back, take a little bit of water, put it in a bucket, and it comes back to life. It never dies.
Well, right. And let's go back to the beginning of that process. You can poke a person and they freak out, but you can rip a plant apart and you don't even think about what's going on for that plant.
Right. How much pain.
Yes.
And it's dying for that entire process.
Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight. It happens it decays while watching itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, to get a little more complicated, right, as a living being, it's like until even very recently, but we'll just say like a couple few hundred years ago, we referred to animals as dumb animals, right? But now, we're giving them like these mats that have those buttons on them so that they can talk to us, and they're talking to us.
Using the toilet.
They're using the toilet.
Yeah, cats are using the toilet.
Like they are not dumb. Like I have situations with my cat where like I can tell she's pissed at me, or like I had a friend who she had 2 cats and she would start telling me about all the like interpersonal drama going on with these cats, but like she knew them really well. She observed them and like that was for sure happening.
Or how about like the whales and dolphins that are definitely smarter than we are?
Yes.
They've developed a new language model so that what we've created doesn't disturb how they communicate.
Yes. Yeah, I heard about this. Like
They're like these human flies.
Once again, making a mess, but whatever, we'll just go around you. Totally.
It must be from America.
Let's be the United States. Let's be specific.
They must be. They must be.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. When we wake up collectively to just all of the aliveness of this reality.
When we realize that even air is alive.
That's going to just blow our minds. Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the things that's probably coming, right? And if folks are already sort of like deep into their awakening process, they probably already had to deal with some of this, right? But like, I think one of the things that's coming is like the realization of like, oh my God, like, what did we do?
That is a profound moment. Mm-hmm. That is a moment where you either rejoice or weep.
Right. And maybe you weep and then you rejoice, or maybe it's a little bit of both, but it's just like, yeah, like that wake up moment is tough. It can be really tough, right? But the thing for me at any rate, and maybe this resonates with you, the thing to remember when that happens is now you are awake and now you know what all has been going on. And now you have the choice to say, either I continue contributing to this or I get to work and help and start like helping to make it better. Start being that caretaker, right?
But for those who want to carry that torch, it is a blessing and it is honorable and it is worth doing and it's a legacy.
Well, and frankly, look, like everyone's free, right? It's a free will zone once again, right? But like, I think the stakes have never been higher. it's not, I don't, from my perspective, it's not a matter of, well, do I feel like it? It's like, no, we are actually at a critical moment. Like, and I don't mean to be fear-mongering, and I don't want to be fear-mongering, but like, in some ways, very truly a crisis moment. And, sort of just to go back to my medicine experiences again, it's like a theme that keeps coming up for me is we need to atone. And, the concept of atonement has some connotations, especially in some fear-based religions, right? But when you look at the word and when you look at the origins of the word atonement, it means to bring back into harmony. And if you break it down too, it also comes down to at one-ment. Part of the message that keeps coming through along with this atonement thing is, and humans need to participate in this. And to kind of connect it back to everything happens for a reason, it's all sort of unfolding perfectly, even though it's hard to see sometimes, right? We lost our connection with source and divinity. And I think that was intentional, right? I think it was actually part of our journey to develop ourselves as consciousness and as spiritual beings, as a collective. And I believe that part of what's happening now is that we are actually coming back. We are remembering. Something that has happened in the process is that we have done all this damage to our planet. And I think the question that's sort of facing us now is, okay, but are you going to show me that you deserve it? Now that you understand and see this, are you going to actually come enough back into harmony that this can continue? Or are you going to do Trash Planet again?
Well, when you said that, one of the things that came up for me was like our political climate, all the darkness that you feel. It's kind of like, part of that atonement, right? Is to take a guitar and hit a string to see if it's tuned or not. Ding! Some disruption, some distortion is here. Let's see it. Let's tweak it. Another distortion. And another, every time you pull a string to tune something, it may look like a huge climate shift. Or is it a tool to tune the machine or the human experience?
Same way. You're asking about the distortion? Or
yeah, the distortions, like being a catalyst for our ability to refine our experience. Like I'll give you a deeper example of that. Like, I don't know, for the past 50 years, it has felt like we've had nothing but, I don't want to speak for the rest of the world. I'm talking about the experience here where we're at. Felt like we were pretty much on a pretty flat trajectory. That shifted. And it's not a flat trajectory anymore. Now it's chaos.
Yeah. Well, but the chaos, right? It's like you have to have chaos in order to have change.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like the chaos is like pulling a string and making sure you rip that string so hard that you're forced to hear the tone and to make that adjustment.
I believe, yes, that part of the chaos, part of the darkness is giving that motivation. And to kind of come back from earlier, right? It's like it gives that contrast and sort of like forces you sort of in a particular direction, or gives you incentive to go in a particular direction. And like the chaos is in part like just a symptom of stuff falling apart, right? And then I think the question in that moment is like, okay, well, like, where do I go? How do I navigate this? Right? And there's sort of this like siren song of like, oh, it's dark times and, like this thing is happening, police state, blah, 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 blah. But you don't have to navigate that way. That's just sort of like where you're being called to. That's the reality that like someone's trying to sell you. And I'm not trying to say that's not I'm not trying to say that there are not people who are trying to make that happen. But what I am saying is that in this moment of chaos and darkness, we can come into our center and say, that's not the reality I'm buying into.
So how would someone that doesn't know this language, that doesn't know how to recognize these patterns, how do they come into a place where they can start to recognize these things? Or what can we give them? What tool can we give them to start the journey of recognizing it?
That's a really interesting question because, for instance, in a recent episode, it's like we were talking about pollinators, right? And my guest, Nick, said, man, like we've been talking about this since the 60s, you know, like when are people going to wake up?
Yeah, the bee. Like that's real.
That's real.
Yeah.
And it's critical, right? And I don't think you can force a person to wake up. I don't think like I believe that there is nothing fundamentally different necessarily between a person who wakes up and a person who doesn't. I think that we all have the potential.
Yeah, but is there something that someone that maybe resonates with what we're saying and wants to do more? Is there something that we can give them? Like for me, one thing that comes up is maybe conditioning. Find everywhere you're conditioned and deconstruct that.
Yeah.
Like saying hello to someone. When you say hello, you're like, most people are like, hello, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Maybe changing that script.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that because I like one of my episodes is about saying hello.
Yeah?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, just changing it. You know, find different ways to just change that one thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that I'm trying to sort of suggest at this podcast, and I think is already happening, right, is culture change. And you know, the thing that people can do is lean into it. Say like, okay, like I see the potential for this here. I see that if we're going to like veer out of like the dark times that are on the horizon, like we need to sort of take some different steps forward. Do it, talk about it, embody it, and make it part of the larger conversation. I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to convince people when they're not sort of already on board, right? But like, I think helping other people connect the dots, right? So for instance, like last time you were on, I was like, well, we need to talk about plastic. And you're like, and I'm like, well, because of the fossil fuel industry. And you're like, wait a second, what? You know?
You're right.
Connecting those dots and sort of helping people understand the larger context of what's going on. Because, you know, I mean, one of the things that I think we're all aware of now is that a large number of people who are in control of massive aspects of our infrastructure and just our society, right? They're on board with the dark times.
It's 100%. Division.
And just to go back to like the language that I keep using is like seeing the ways that you are plugged into that and saying, I'm fucking done. We are breaking up. You're like, that is dead to me now. I am now stepping into this reality, this trajectory. I understand that like my being complacent about that is not an option anymore, you know, and figuring out the ways that you can then step into that new dream, that new reality that works for you. Right? Like, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be all at once. But we need to start steering away from this because that way lies trash planet, you know?
Yeah, maybe we should come up with a list of some little things that we can suggest people do to...
That's what my podcast is about.
Oh, yeah. It is, right?
I'm making lists.
Wait, don't. I've heard somewhere if you make your bed every morning, so on and so on and so forth, right? So, yeah, is that what you're doing?
Tell me more about the so on and so forth.
So, you know, like organization starts, or you know, with making your bed in the morning. So if you do that consistently, eventually make another habit and another habit. And before you know it, you're living the most organized life, and
Yeah.
you didn't realize that it started with making your bed or something like that.
Yeah. No, I think I get your point now. And yes, like this is bringing up something for me, which is, yeah. So when I was 14, I had a near-death experience, and what it left me with was this conviction that I was really the only one I could rely on.
Mm.
And like, look, on a fundamental level, that's true of everyone, right? You are the only person who was always going to be there for yourself. But it really lit a fire under me. And one of the projects that I sort of undertook in that moment was like, I basically realized that because of sort of my family circumstances, that the only way that I had to like actually better myself and to make sure that I was going to be able to have the comfortable life that I wanted was to like really apply myself in school and also do a lot of like mental shifting, because I had been trained in like this very pessimistic sort of mindset. And the message that came to me, because my guides have always been pretty active for me, the message that came to me was like, just start small.
Oh.
Just start small. Start small, make a promise to yourself, keep it, and then do it again. And then do it again and do it again. And the point is just like, you know, it's so easy to get overwhelmed and then to shut down because you're like, there's this enormous project. How am I supposed to do this, right? But you just start small and build that muscle. And eventually you'll be making podcasts, you know? Because like, why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's real. The body remembers. And if you show your body or you tell your body that, you know, you don't need to hold yourself accountable, or you don't hold yourself accountable, and it's that much easier every single time.
Yeah. And, you know, this brings up something that you mentioned in our last one, which is like this relationship between your body and your soul, ideally, is a best friend relationship. But what happens when you make a promise to yourself and you don't follow through? You're letting yourself down. You're telling yourself that I'm not here for you. What is important to you isn't important to me, right? And like, to kind of bring it back to sort of the larger context here, it's like, hey, my community, my home, my planet needs me to show up differently. And if you know that and you still don't do anything, you're telling yourself something, right? These things that are so fundamentally important to me and my life and my livelihood and my enjoyment, my existence, that's not important to me enough to like make some changes in my life. Oh.
And the changes are so easy.
Mm-hmm.
So easy.
Yeah.
You can do something as simple as just touching somebody.
Mm.
Like, just touch somebody.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. Just hello.
Bring a little
And
joy
put your hand on somebody.
with consent.
Of course.
Or a different example.
You know, a warm embrace, just acknowledgement with some type of connection.
Yeah. I mean, we all need physical touch,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some of us are more so than others. I'm a pretty high touch person.
Mm-hmm.
And I happen to be in a situation where I don't get touched very often. And like my experience of getting like a really warm, like authentic hug, not one of these like, I'm going to put my arm sort of around you because it's a hug. No, like, I mean like body to body, like my heart's open, your heart's open, like we're in it.
Like, I'm going to wrap my legs around your feet. For Walla.
Yes. Yeah. But like sometimes that experience actually, it literally feels like I'm getting plugged back in to like the human network, you know, and it just like, it feels so good on my nervous system. And
You're part of the collective again.
Yes.
We're not meant to feel alone. We're not alone. We couldn't possibly be alone. We're surrounded by, I mean.
Well, and I think that's part of the joke of it all.
Yes.
Is that we're surrounded by different manifestations of the same consciousness, of which we are also a manifestation. We've just forgotten that because of the veil. Right. And like we've been trained and or encouraged to act like we're the only ones here. You know, I'm in a crowded room. I'm not going to make eye contact with anyone because it's rude or something. I don't know. But like, so like you feel alone.
100%.
You're surrounded by
Consciousness. Consciousness gave us everything we need, and we choose to buy it.
Yeah. But again, I mean, I think that forgetfulness was part of the process.
Yes.
It's not a mistake.
Because it does feel really good to remember.
Yes.
It is like the ultimate gift.
100%. 100%.
What? I am royal? What?
What? I'm connected to everything?
What? They don't just call you Queenie because it's your name? Like you're an actual queen? Right? I mean,
not to put too fine a point on it. I do feel really, to go back to like the romance, I do feel very treasured.
That's real. And that is an important part of being alive, is knowing that you are a valuable part of the fabric of it. And without you, the fabric would not exist as a whole.
And your authentic expression is actually the gift that you're here to give.
And you're worthy of that.
Yes. And everything that's telling you otherwise is garbage to be rejected.
I feel like we're in a beautiful space. I know it seems really dark, but there's truth in darkness.
Well, yeah, and you know, a bulk of the darkness, maybe perhaps the bulk of the darkness, is the people that we thought we could rely on to lead us, to tell us how to organize and move through this world and sort of shape this reality. We can't rely on them.
Well, I think that comes with the fact that we gave up our autonomy, a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were okay with that.
Yeah, because it was more convenient that
It
way.
was convenient. That was the grocery store, you know, but, you know, whatever made this experience also gave us dirt, and we can grow our own food.
Mm-hmm.
So there's options.
Yeah. Yeah. And the darkness of that all realization is like pushing us towards coming back to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I would have never thought I was going to grow my own food, ever. I mean, now I'm thinking about growing grapes and seeing what wine feels like when you make it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially, when you hear about like all the pesticides and like a lot of wine anymore, like for sure do that. Yeah. I love wine. I don't drink very often anymore, but I do love.
But if you had a bottle of like Gabe's OG #1, you know.
It better say that on the label.
Bottle #3. Even if it tasted like, I don't know, some weird grape. I mean, be worth it.
I mean, I love you, but I don't know if I love you that much.
There's limits. That's where concessions.
As long as you're not expecting me to like tell you that it's amazing when it's terrible.
Oh, no. Transparency. That's how you grow.
Yeah. Good.
That's how you grow grapes.
Honesty. That is the basis of a good friendship, I think. Honesty.
100%. I think that, I don't know, without, honestly, that's a whole nother conversation. I mean, being dishonest with someone else is being dishonest with yourself.
Yes.
I mean, we're all just mirrors of ourselves. And you definitely keep what you give. If you give abundance, you receive abundance.
Yes.
If you give lies, you live lies. I choose to give love.
Give it. Give love. Give joy.
Even when I speak to my water, I'm like, I'm giving you love. What are you going to give me back? What are you going to give me back, baby? Yeah, I'll romanticize my water. Mm-hmm. And it gives me romance back.
I want some of your water.
Make it rain.
I don't really want to focus on capitalism, but like there are so many opportunities that we have when we interact with this world, right? To give from a place of abundance, to give freely, right? And there's something about capitalism that I think, at least in this like late stage, like end of the Monopoly game sort of like moment that we're in, right? Where we're not doing that. It's like there's something, I mean, okay, so one of the things
We're not doing that.
I'm in Las Vegas, right, during that conference from last year, and it's like you couldn't go outside without having to pay money. Like I went to the mall because that was where the restaurant that I wanted to eat was at, and you had to pay money to park at the mall. I'm like, I'm coming here to be a consumer, and y'all are like nickel and diming me in the parking lot.
Oh my goodness.
Whew. I'm like, get me out of here.
Talk about capital. But there's also a good side to capitalism.
Light and dark to everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you want to take a second and shift the way you experience the world? Yes, there's someone who can take the experience that you're trying to trade for that and find a way to use that currency for the next experience. But the greed behind capitalism,
Yeah.
it's out of control.
And if I'm tracking what you're saying, I want to just point out that there is a difference between commerce and capitalism.
Well, that's probably what I meant.
Yeah.
There's space for commerce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with commerce.
Maybe I need to refine my definition on what? Yes.
You're going to try to get me to define capitalism right here, right now? I did not prepare that.
You can put the definition right here.
Inserted later, friends. For me, the core of capitalism, which I think has steered us, I don't want to say wrong, because again, it all fits together, right? But the part about capitalism that I think is problematic is this viewing of the planet and all the resources on it, including other people, as things to be exploited for profit, or if you want to generalize, for pleasure. Because what that does is it denies the planet and everything on it, including other people, their sacredness. It denies their inherent value. And it says, you only have value to me insofar as I can make money off of you, right? Which drives this, exploitation of our planet and all the resources on it and other people, right? Which I think very clearly leads to, the situation where like so many people are experiencing, where they're literally trading their lives, their life force, their time on this planet in exchange for wages that don't allow them to live a comfortable life. I'm not even saying extravagant, comfortable, right? It also, this is like a theme I've been tracking through the episodes. It also leads us to make decisions that don't make sense except for the fact that it is cheaper or more profitable to do it this way as opposed to the other way. An example that is coming to mind is the way that we handle trash and our food scraps specifically, right? Those want to go back into the ground, but it is easier and cheaper and also more profitable for the waste management companies to send them to landfill, which then causes more greenhouse gas emissions, which also then contaminates the nutrients from our soil so that we can never use them again. And if you take profit out of those situations, you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? That's not how you do it. That makes no sense. But it's the injection of this profit motive that I think leads us into these weird, destructive situations, and because we've got these capitalist classes on, it's like we're like, well, yeah, what else would you do?
Yeah, and that sounds like you just blew my mind there for a second.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm still like connecting things that you didn't even say. I'm just like,
You're that meme
math.
with all the yeah.
yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's also this another view to it that's a little more probably woo-woo, where every duality needs its polarity. But if you atone it and you bring that into harmony, yeah, I think that I like that word atonement now. Thank you for that.
I'm into it. Yeah, when it first came to me, I was like, atonement, like I feel like I'm about to be punished. But then when I looked into it, I was like, oh, to bring back into harmony, I'm into that.
Yeah.
I'll get on board with that. Yeah. And this is again something that came up in a recent episode, which is like the planet has such regenerative capabilities. But part of what we need to do in order to allow those to work is to back off of some of these practices where we're destroying it, poisoning it, blah, 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 blah. And sort of the way that I'm coming to kind of understand that is like, we need to show the planet and creator that like, we get it enough that we're going to cooperate with how this system is meant to work or works so that it can regenerate, so that we can have that abundant, like, heaven on earth that like we all sort of want and know is possible. And I know that there are people who are sort of walking around like, I'm existing in heaven on earth. Like, oh, I'm one of them, you know? But we're a collective. I think it's supposed to be a collective existence, you know? And it's just like, we just got to get there. And I think that's sort of where the like more sort of punishing sort of aspect of the word atonement comes in, right? It's like, you need to do the work, friends, you know, come back into harmony, and then we can kind of have this beautiful like reblossoming.
Right. But how do you begin the work? I mean, for me, recycling, you brought that to my sphere, and now everywhere I go, I'm like, okay, this can goes here, this plastic goes here, the lid go, you know, you have to do this thing, the bag I can reuse, this, you know, that everything has its place, and you know, just recycling. So
thank you. Everything has its place. There is like this disorder, this massive disorder that we've created because we won't put things in their place. I see the connection, right, with harmony, right? It's like,
I mean, there's 1,000 ways. There's that kid that the parents see breaking the branches and don't say anything. There's the person that just plays with fire in a place that's definitely not supposed to play with fire. I mean, there's the smokers. I mean, I don't mean to shame anybody, but I didn't know people still smoked on planet Earth.
I'll be real. Like, I've been probably smoking a little bit more cannabis than I should recently.
Yeah, but that's to me, that's something completely different than putting, 300 chemicals in a rolled up piece of paper and blowing that off into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
we're all in different stages.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't even know why I was pointing out, all the different reflections in which we see it, but I mean, where we see it, we can definitely grow from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think what's kind of coming up for me as I have conversations with people is that people are having these sort of internal, like, maybe I should be doing this instead of whatever it is I've been doing. And it's like, listen to that, because I believe that this culture change that's happening is actually coming up from the inside and coming out into this reality through us. Right? This is part of that, like, humans need to participate in this, right? It's like we are manifesting this actually through the ways that we're choosing to live. And so if you're feeling that urge, lean in, go for it. Like, don't question the like, well, I haven't done this before. Why would I do this now? Because we need to be doing it differently. That example, part of, I think, choosing to be, I don't know, a warrior for New Earth. I mean, a new human, right? Like dedicating yourself to making this a part of your life is like making space for it.
Yes.
So if that's your situation, or for anyone, right? I mean, so often the response is like, I am so busy. I don't have space enough to take care of myself, let alone think about like what's going on outside of this, right? But like that is I think that is a really good sign that it's time to sit down and sort of look at like what is taking up your time. And I'm not saying that it's not important, but like what really matters and what can you cut out? And know as well that the old paradigm, the establishment, whatever you want to call it, like has a vested interest in you feeling so overwhelmed and busy, because they know that if that's how you feel, you're not going to be a problem for them.
And also, I don't mean to, I hope it just doesn't say, I hope it adds to what you're saying, but one thought that came through is most people are busy because they're trying to use up their time to build something worth holding on to. And the only thing I can see worth holding on to that has the most value is the place you live, which is this planet, the future for your children, the future for yourself.
Yeah.
The way we get to experience the gifts that we've been given. So if you're spending the majority of your time trying to figure out how to accumulate things to have those experiences eventually, by the time eventually happens, it might be different.
Well, and two, I mean, you think about, so like the statistic is something like most Americans spend 6 hours on their phone every day.
Oh.
6 hours.
Oh my goodness.
That's nearly a full
6
shift at
hours?
work.
Did you do that research?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not doubting it, but it's just like unbelievable. 6 hours?
Yes.
That's like my sleep time.
Yeah, I know. If like, right? So like, if you're like, I'm so busy, I don't have time to do this. It's like, well, that's a place that maybe you're putting your time where it could be better served elsewhere, you know?
6 hours. You said most Americans or most humans?
I believe it's Americans.
Okay.
There might be a age range to it, like
6 hours.
but it's a lot. It's a lot.
I can't imagine I don't even work for 6 hours.
I know. I also saw a graphic where it showed like all of sort of the activities that humans did, I don't know, 20 or 30 years ago, right? It's like school, family time, whatever, right? And then it's like over time, like internet rises and all of the other ones. And it's like, look, I get the internet is very interesting, right? There's all kinds of stuff going on, like, right? But if we're just living on the internet, we're missing it. We're missing it. And we're actually just like very much buying into, I think, the agenda that wants to drive us into the dark times.
The division.
The division, the distraction. Yeah.
Yeah, if you send the person you love a clip or a post or repost instead of giving them a hug, that's...
Thank you so much for being here again.
No, thank you. This is the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this with me. These sessions or these episodes, filming these episodes feels like medicine for me.
It feels, first of all, I get so much information every time I talk to you. Like, seriously, I'm grateful to be here.
All right, New Humans fam. Thank you so much for joining us. If you found this episode to be inspirational, helpful, or informative, please share it with your friends, your partner, a family member, or anyone that you love. If you loved this episode, please leave a review. And be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. This is how we grow the New Humans community and help inspire others to join us in co-creating New Earth. This world is what we make it. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next episode.